Apparently, Senator Rand Paul has come up with an idea to try to revitalize Detroit and try to reverse some of the overwhelming economic damage and destruction that has been done to the city. Apparently, his idea is to just simply get rid of federal taxes and all kinds of regulations of business. That way they can turn particular areas, if not all of Detroit, into one big special economic zone. Those same kind of special economic zones that we see throughout the third world, a la really cheap labor for the rich. It seems as though Rand Paul is suggesting that we just simply give more to the people who already have everything, and that if we do that, somehow they'll be nice enough to give back, like provide more exploitation. Nothing screams libertarian like just giving everything over to the rich and solve the problems of capitalism by adding more capitalism. But exactly how effective would this actually be? Well, the Detroit Free Press certainly seems to have an answer. Tax cuts that primarily benefit the wealthy aren't likely to do much for Detroit, where 60% of tax filters had taxable incomes of less than $20,000 in 2011. As the Detroit Free Press noted, it's difficult to know just how much impact a plan like Paul's could have, with more than a third of the city's residents living below the federal poverty level. Now, personally, I think it could have some possible impact, but nowhere near the amount necessary to actually save Detroit. In fact, I think it would bring about only about 1% of the jobs or the wealth that previously left the city. And the reason being, it's still always going to be cheaper than the third world because of things like varying levels of currency value and general overall living standards. This reduction in wages and basically no regulation whatsoever is frankly the only way that capitalists can actually compete. It's a basic law of capitalism. If one capitalist in a field finds something that's extremely profitable and is going to give himself an edge over the other capitalists, all the other ones in the same field or the same industry have to do the same thing in order to compete. They literally have no choice. These third world wages, which are very popular right now, which is the backbone of the system, the global economic system we have right now, cannot be competed with. So they can't stop doing that. The only thing they could possibly do is bring those same poverty level wages to America. Basically, what we're seeing here is the third worldization of the first world. Our wages and living standards have to be reduced to pre or at industrial revolution levels, just for the sake of being able to continue the capitalist system. The only answer for us, the only thing we can do, is accept the super exploitation that existed before workers learned how to struggle back against what was happening to them. This kind of action, this third worldization of first world workers, would certainly bring a tremendous increase in the amount of the militarization of labor. This reduction of the first world to the third world would exacerbate the already existing contradictions between capital and labor. Doing so would make workers more conscious of the class nature of their exploitation and would certainly help them into their decision whether or not to join some kind of resistance to it. What are we really seeing here overall? What we're seeing is that capitalism cannot do anything to save itself other than to squeeze the worker even harder. This shows exactly how desperate the system really is. I mean, we see this as just one libertarian kook putting forward an idea in government. But the fact is, it's not such a kook idea. The capitalist class needs this. This is the only thing that they could possibly do to bring jobs to the first world. I mean, up until now, they've been touting, less productive labor like IT and artistry and stuff like that. But real physical commodity production, the actual production that creates value, is not here anymore. It has been sent to the third world for super exploitation levels. This shows that capitalism may very well be in its end days. There's nothing they can do. They can't come out with some kind of new Keynesian model to pull themselves out of the mess that the system always tends toward. Capitalism may very well be on the verge of death. This act, even as small as it is with it just being put forward by one person, shows it is dying and cannot think of anything to save it. And that's a good and a bad. On the one hand, we could very well see the end of capitalism in our lifetimes. but there would also be a tremendous amount of suffering as well. Thank you for watching. Go ahead, rate, comment, subscribe, share on various social media, and if you want, there's some other great content here you could check out.